What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode. A very important episode. Today, I will be joined by my friend, Dr. Oday, who is serving in southern Gaza at the European Gaza Hospital. He's been there for the entire war, and obviously, he's been there much earlier than that as well. He's located not too far away from Rafah, where the recent massacre happened. If some of you are following me on Twitter, you would have seen I posted a conversation with him just after that had happened. He sent me a message saying, check out the news. We are on standby and we're waiting for a lot of new patients. The next day when I followed up with him, I asked him, how are things doing? How are things going? Is he coping? And he said it was a terrible night, not because they received a lot of new patients, but because they didn't really receive any new patients at all. They all had died, including children who were completely decapitated during the explosions. He said it was news that made all of the doctors at his hospital sick to their stomachs. Now, this is a conversation I had planned on having him on for long before this massacre happened. And so it's not going to be about that specifically, although we'll talk a little bit about it. It's more just to let him talk and tell us what it's like to be a doctor in Gaza. What is he going through? What is he thinking? What is he feeling? Just hear from somebody on the ground. I do have to apologize in advance. We did have some technical difficulties. The connection dropped off a couple of times. There was an echo we were dealing with and a delay that caused us to talk over each other a bit in some places. But I think it still turned out okay, and I hope that you find it informative. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. Dr. Oday, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So yeah, it's my pleasure. There's a lot of stuff going on there that I want to obviously jump into, especially with what just recently unfolded. But I want to kind of take a starting point for you to kind of introduce yourself, especially because a lot of my subscribers know that I'm in China, and you have a China connection, don't you?
That's correct. I actually have studied and lived in China for about 12 years. And actually, I'm a cardiac surgeon, a specialist. And I came back to Gaza here to work here. Uh, at the beginning, I came back to see my family. And I ended up staying here, and the war happened. Currently, because of the war and what's going on and deficiencies we have here, I do cover both cardiac surgery and pediatric surgery in the European Gaza Hospital. These in the south area of Gaza, just on the borders with Rafah city, the area where everything is going now. Every bad thing is happening now in Rafah area. And we hear now, just fresh news now, that um, the IDF is advancing with four group. Uh, yeah, these groups can be like hundreds of soldiers. They are advancing, and like I think they're coming very near to our hospital. So God only knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. Before we get into that, I want to find out a little bit more. So the period of time that you were in China was actually you were here for the entire COVID zero then, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, that's
It was like, let's just say, interesting 3 years of my life.
I was here for the whole thing too, and I was going to say that was, I mean, interesting is a very good word to use for it. Challenging, definitely.
I think the people who stayed during the COVID time, I think they're very very brave. I mean, like seeing people just leave and you're staying alone is really it gets scary sometimes.
Why was it obviously there's more important things that we want to get into, but I just want to kind of get my curiosities about the China piece out for my audience out. Why was it you decided to come to China to study?
This is interesting story. We when we finish with the high school here, and yeah, it's pretty late at the end of July, and by the time you get your degree and stuff, it is very late to apply for universities. So I start applying everywhere, not only China, like Egypt, Jordan, US, like everywhere. And the only university I got accepted into is a university in the south of China, Jiangxi University of TCM. And I thought I was lucky, and Okay, it's like, I didn't waste a year at least. That's what I thought, and I thought like these might be like fate or something like this.
Yeah.
So so I decided to just go to China, and next it was 12 years.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm 16 or 17 years now, so I know the time can fly very quickly. You said just now, was it Jiangxi University in Jiangxi?
Yeah, it's these where I studied for my bachelor degree, Jiangxi University of TCM. These in Nanchang, Jiangxi Nanchang,
Oh,
and yeah, and then I continued with my master degree. I got a Chinese government scholarship to study cardiothoracic surgery in Zhongshan University or San Yat-sen University, which is a national leading university among the top five in China, and they have the first cardiothoracic surgery center. This is one of the three centers in China. So it was a really good opportunity for me to learn all these and new technologies and stuff like this and bring them back to my country. So I think I had a really good chance in China, and I learned a really good skills there, especially when you have these high volume of patients. Uh, so you get more chances, and you get like
more experience.
yeah, I get more experience. I still advise anyone who wants to study surgery to go to China because you're gonna learn.
You get a lot of opportunity to practice. That's interesting. That's a connection that I didn't actually know about because my wife is actually from Jiangxi. She went to university in Nanchang also, and that's where her hukou was. That's pretty interesting. Now, one thing I'm wondering though is for people from Palestine who are looking to go to university. I mean, from what I've seen in the news, like pretty much all the universities in Gaza have been destroyed. Like, is that pretty much correct? And so does that mean that now for the foreseeable future, any Palestinian who wants to go to university pretty much has to go abroad now?
Exactly. Now, if you followed the news, especially if you followed uh, and you've seen the images on videos they were uploaded, especially with Al Jazeera. Uh, if you've seen like the IDF was very proud of bombing universities. Like now, imagine this: you are like a fifth year student, medical student, or like you're in your final year, and your university is just gone, vanished. Now you're left with only things to say. You don't have any proof that you are a medical student who supposed to graduate and be a doctor. So you wasted 5 years of your life. Imagine this, and like I couldn't even like this is too much.
Yeah.
Just ignoring the fact that you have to spend a lot of money learning medicine. So now a lot of students now they're trying to find a way of studying or going abroad. Even with all this going on, still it's really difficult because you still have the borders blocked. If you want to get out of here, you need to spend a lot of money. It's not really as easy as you might think. You have to spend like too much money just to have these papers to cross the borders between Gaza and Egypt. It costs like for one person 5,000 US dollar just to get this clearance to cross the borders.
Wow.
Imagine this. No one is gonna like think about spending this much money. Uh, no one is gonna go out alone. Everyone is caring about their family. They want their family to be with them. So
Yeah.
every family needs to at least spend like 20,000 US dollars just to get clearance to go out and have their children continue study abroad. Things here keep turning from bad to worse.
All right, sorry about that. We're having this video that's gonna cut in and out, because we're having some difficulties with the connection. But, on the topic of, challenges and things like that, obviously, you were talking about these students that put so much of their life into their university studies, and now their university is gone before they were even able to complete, their schooling. You also have a similar situation with a clinic, right? I mean, you were in the middle of building a charity clinic. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that's correct. Uh, Before I talk about my clinic, I need to mention that where this coming from. Uh, my family has been involved in this charity work for like over 20 years, and my mother started all of this. I guess in 20s in 20,000 in 2001, I think. And she started an institution for children and women. And this institution was about helping these rural women, the women in the remote area, to build some kind of a job while she's at home. And most of it was involving tailoring, to be a tailors, and doing some traditional clothes and some traditional items. And then she advanced more to having a school, preschool. This was very helpful. Imagine now you're walking down the street and you have like 20 years old or 25 years old a man calling you miss or like teacher. And that's what's happening with my mom. And uh, now, as a continuation to her work, I was thinking about doing a charity clinic uh, because of our area is really far from the major hospital and major health center complex. So we've been doing this. We've been trying to build the clinic since 2014, because in 2014 we also had our house destroyed. So we thought we can use this area to rebuild a four-story house where the first floor to be clinic, and then we live in the other three floors. But then, you know, the war started and everything gone, and the school gone, everything we own, and I was really
Just
sad.
bombed.
And yeah, everyone told me that we lost everything. I didn't believe anyone until the other day when you just text me. I told you I'm really depressed and stuff. I went actually for the first time in 7 months to see our house and the clinic and stuff and the school. The amount of depression, the amount of hopelessness I felt is beyond imaginable. I've never felt so hopeless in my life, and it's really hard seeing everything you worked for just vanished, doesn't exist. And I'm still like more decisive than ever to start again. I will not let this go, even if I have to do this in a tent. I will still do it. And but now, if I'm going to start again, I think uh, I will start hopefully with the support I might get. I hope that I start a cardiovascular center, which it will be the first in Gaza, because we don't have any specialty centers for cardiovascular disease here.
So, now the area that was hit where, your clinic and home was destroyed, was that of any military significance? Like, was there anything there that, or it's just
I think if you follow the news, you'll know the area. It's called Azanna. It's near the borders, uh, on the east side, and it was since the operation in the south, it was a center for IDF. It was a strategic area for them. If you follow the news, I think the name Zanna or Azanna will be familiar to you.
So what you're saying basically is that it's not that there was any sort of, military operations there from the Gaza side, it was just that the Israeli army wanted to take over it militarily for a strategic base to launch operations from.
Exactly, and because of the you know tall buildings, is a pain for them. So they level any tall building they find, they just level it to the ground. And I thought maybe because it's a four-story building, uh, that's why they removed it. Uh, but again, when I looked around, uh, you just see stones. You see like destruction everywhere. It's just not just only my houses, many houses. Like even most of the standing houses are not even usable. You can't live in them.
I wanna move more into, your work now. So I wanna kind of know how things have played out if, compared to the beginning of the war. So, for example, based on where you were you slammed in terms of having a lot of patients right from the beginning of this war, or did it really start to ramp up later on?
Actually, in the beginning of the war, yeah, it was really difficult. We had this rotation going on, like every two doctors will be on call at 24 hours. So it was really difficult, even when you have a partner with you, when you have a colleague. So we were four groups doing these rotations, and every shift was different, and the difficulty is vary from a shift to shift. But it was a really high volume. Like a lot of patient coming in, a lot of injuries coming in, and most of them coming with either blunt trauma and internal organ damage to patient coming in dead. And knowing the fact that I'm a pediatric covering pediatric surgery, so imagine kids coming in losing an arm or a leg, or like having their spleen took out, or like they're bled to death. It's just crazy. During the first 3 months, it was really intense, and then after that, when the south and the north have been divided, and most of the doctor from the north didn't come in because of no fuel, no buses to go bring them, and security issue, and uh, and then like yeah, there were only me and another colleague. I really wanted him to be on your show today, but unfortunately he's not around. So we've been working 80 days straight. We didn't leave the hospital for 80 days, and we dealt with really intense number of patients. Some patients just died because they didn't have a bed in the ICU. Probably they coming into the ICU. We admit them for 2 or 3 days under observation, and then like okay, next day out of the ICU, and then you go home most of the time. But
Right.
you don't have this care, and then like coming in, we thought you were okay, you're fine, and then you come in, no bed in the ICU for you. Okay, we'll put you on our uh, normal care department, and then next day in the morning, we find this girl dead, cardiac arrest. It's really difficult. Like even like the simplest things. Imagine you don't have gauze. Imagine this, just gauze, just normal cotton-based tissue, just to wipe up blood, or like to stop bleeding. This is the simplest thing. Even imagine sometimes we don't even have tools. We don't have like ketamine. Ketamine is used for anesthesia, for pain management, for sedation.
Uh,
Just crazy. And then we had to work 80 days 80 days straight, 24/7. I remember the last 3 days of these 80 days, we worked 3 days straight without sleep. 3 days
So
without
you're
sleep.
having a lot of cases where there are patients that should have been able to survive, but the only reason they didn't survive was because you were short of supplies or space. That's it. That's the only reason they died.
Exactly. And no one, we only two doctors covering the only uh, pediatric center in Gaza. Imagine, like, what are you gonna do? Like, either you be in surgery or you are in the ER, in an emergency department. You can be in both places at the same time. Either you help patient who coming into your emergency department and help them to give them a chance to survive, or be in the OR doing surgery on some kid who might be bleeding internally. It just
Right.
like crazy, and all of this could be solved only with maybe like fuel. Just fuel. Imagine this: you have extra doctors working with you. All you need just some fuel for these ambulance to go bring these doctors to come and work. But you cut the roads, you cut the fuel, you hit the safe zones, like, and who suffers the most? Children.
Obviously, there's a lot of other hospitals that have been destroyed or damaged or, are not in commission anymore because of the war. What's happening to those doctors? Are they moving to functioning hospitals? Like, are you receiving doctors from hospitals that are no longer functioning, or you're not really getting any more additional people in?
I will give you like a really fresh example today. The Kuwaiti hospital this morning, they advertised, or let's just say they informed that they are out of service because they can no longer work because no supply, no equipment, no doctors. Now, you know, let's just look at this from my perspective, or anyone's perspective. A doctor, in the end of the day, a doctor is just uh, another citizen who still have a family. If I have two choices, either I go be with my family and help them relocate, help them build a tent, help them get water, help them get food, or be in a hospital and help patients or injuries.
Right.
I mean, it's very obvious. If the hospital cannot help me, then I can't help anyone. I need to help myself first in order to be able to help other people. If I'm in the same situation as everyone else, like, imagine, I'll just tell you this: doctors in Gaza haven't had any salary since the beginning of the war, and imagine that everything is doubled, like, not double, it's 10 times the normal price. Imagine, if you want to buy a jug of water in the old days, it just like it costs a few cents. Now, if you want to buy a jug of water, it costs at least $1 to $2. Just water, drinking water.
So in addition to everything being more expensive, you got all the doctors in Gaza more or less just have not been paid for this entire time. You guys have been working for free. The Ministry of Health has collapsed, basically.
Exactly. I mean, I don't really understand how things running here, but well, from what I see, yeah, you can say that Ministry of Health has collapsed. I mean, I think most of the administrative work is just like those those administrators working in the hospitals, and these maybe Minister of Health. I think everyone is working on his own, trying to make things work.
Basically, it's just out of a sense of duty at this point.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Right. Now, with your hospital, obviously, there's you're entering a more dangerous phase now. But up until this point, have you ever had situations where you've had to evacuate your hospital? And the other thing actually at the same time I'm wondering about is these safe zones in Gaza. Um, are they actually safe, or are you getting a lot of your patients from these so-called safe zones?
Safe zone. I mean, we've been in four safe zones since the beginning of this war, and we relocated from all of them. I mean, the safest area we thought was an area in Rafah called Tal Sultan, a Sultan area. This is the area where this area like was hit yesterday by eight artilleries by the IDF, and the stories they've been lying about when the Israelis said like, oh, these Palestinian beheaded children. Everything they lied about, they committed in these few days. I mean, you can actually see beheaded children from these safe zones. You can see people burn alive. You can see tents are burning. This is supposed to be a safe zone. Over 100,000 citizen or refugee living there. Everyone built a tent there thinking they're safe. Yesterday they burned alive. I don't know like what kind of a safe zone is that, but this is no safe zone. Everyone understands this. Gaza doesn't have any safe zone. I moved my
Right.
family from that area not long ago, maybe like I guess about 2 weeks ago. I moved my family to the beach side. It's called Al Mawasi. And then when they decided that they're gonna invade Rafah, because I was on the beach side, but still near Rafah area, so we moved north, more to the north in Mawasi Khan Yunis. Uh, so still, these areas are not safe. I think they're no safe
Right.
area in Gaza.
With the cases that you have coming in, whether they're from safe zones or outside of safe zones, um, what are some of the more, extreme cases that you've had to deal with, or cases that really kind of stuck with you that were, traumatic, even just from the point of view of a doctor having to treat these patients?
For even the patient, like I had a taste of what is it like to hear someone has died, like someone close to your family. I've seen some news about my brother. My baby brother is a senior nurse here in European Gaza Hospital, and uh, I've been had some news that I heard some news that my brother has died. So it is really like at the beginning, I couldn't even think. I couldn't do anything. And then like I remembered that my brother was with me last night. How come is this real? And then I start calling everyone. Everyone was start to confirm that yes, your brother died. And then like when I called his department, they said yeah, he's here, he's sleeping. I mean, I didn't know what to feel. Should I feel relieved or should I be worried? Should I be like sad? Should I be angry? Should I be like? I said no. I want to talk to him. He said no. He's asleep. I can't bring him. I said where is he? He said, and my Danny one. My Danny one is the field hospital inside EGH. I went there. I really couldn't believe it. It's my brother. So imagine this. You lose a family and someone tell you you lost a family. And this happened with my colleague. Um, his brother and his family member was staying at the house at his house, and his brother went out when the IDF was raiding the house. He went out with a white flag to inform that there is citizen here, there's children. He showed them the white flag, but they still shot him. They shot him, and then
Dead.
yes, and then when his wife went to see what happened, they shot her too, and she was still breathing, and they executed her. they executed
They
her.
saw that the first shots didn't kill her, so they ended her by making sure that she was completely dead.
The worst part, they executed her in front of her three children. I mean, I don't know what kind of human do this, but three children, one of them is CB patient, cerebral palsy patient. And because of the grenade they threw in the house, the youngest child, he had a shrapnel enter his eye and stayed in his brain. And because of all of this, like they took the children and tell them, look what Hamas did to your mother and your father. And then they took the children and asked them, is there any tunnels around here? These are children. The oldest is about 13 years old. And these children, I couldn't believe it. When the oldest to them, like there is his sister's husband was with them. He said they never cried, they never mumbled, they never said anything. They just kept walking and came to the EGH hospital here, and they only cried. They collapsed when they saw their uncle, and it was really like even for me because he's my colleague. It was really difficult time. It's really seeing your closest friend or your colleague in this situation. No one will understand how difficult things can be.
Right. I mean, for the children as well, I mean, because I heard once on one report that they actually came up with a special medical term specifically because of Gaza, where you have children with no surviving family members. They have an acronym specially for that. I mean, is that happening a lot where you have these kids that have no family left, basically?
Exactly. We do this here a lot too. In order to be able to treat these children, they coming in, no known family members. We don't know anything about them. They might be, they will be, even if if they are awake or they, they still can't be able. They are not functional. I'll just say it. They're not functional at all. Even though he's awake or she's awake, they don't talk. They don't even they don't like they don't do anything. They are in shock. You can't even talk to them. These patients we can manage. These injuries we can at least manage. We can stay with them and find like a way to communicate with them and get to know their names at least. But then you have these injured children who coming in sedated already or intubated. Uh, these we call them unknown, or in Arabic we call them مجهول. مجهول واحد مجهول اثنين مجهول ثلاثة. It means unknown one, unknown two, unknown three, and goes on. So this is the only way we can do just to like be able to do CTs for them, to do X-rays, ultrasounds, and able to know or and know what condition they have, like does they need surgery and stuff. These the only is really confusing way of like naming children and anyone, not only children, but these the only way we can manage just to call them or write on their body مجهول one or مجهول two, unknown. And then we had some case coming in with their names written on their arm, forearm, or on the belly. So we can try to find out who they are, or maybe find out in the social records, find out who their parents are, and try to communicate with them. Maybe phone them to come and if they still alive, come and inform me that your kid is here in our hospital. But most of the time, it doesn't work. We don't have any mobile network. We
Hmm.
don't have any internet connection most of the time. The internet, I'm sure you heard about Gaza blacked out, no internet, no communication, nothing. So these make things are even worse. But most of the time, parents have learned that if in order to increase the chances of my kid surviving, I need to write his name on on the forearm or on the chest, or belly, or on the back, because some kids coming in pieces.
So this is basically for those kids who are the last surviving member of their family. In a lot of cases, the last remaining item from their parents is the label that they wrote on their arm just in case this very thing happened.
Exactly, exactly. Like I can, like I remember that many of these children, like maybe their far relative finally they come and find them sometimes. But when your own blood has already, like, no one is still alive, your father, your brother, your mother, everyone died. These happened a lot. There is a lot of families in Gaza has been excluded from the social records. Their families doesn't exist anymore. I think it's over 50 family now. I think these the lastest, but I'm not really sure about. Sorry, these wasn't the lastest. These about like 4 months ago. I was 52. I think families have been wiped from the social record. So I think the numbers are higher now.
So what happens in the case when kids have no surviving family members left? Like, where do they go after? Where do they go after treatment?
Oh, I honestly don't know. I
Wow.
really don't know because
Basically, you take care of them in the hospital, but you're not sure what's happening afterwards.
um, my my main goal is to keep them alive. We have social service, some kind of what you have in the U.S. social services for kids.
Yeah.
We call it patient service. I think we do communicate with the government or the whoever's still available to manage this, but I'm not really aware of how this works. And I know I have many people contacted me about such children who lost all their families. They want to adopt or support them. A lot of people, like really kind people, they're willing to take in a child and raise them just like their children. And this in our department, we had many of these children coming in alone, no one with them. So we asked other families here uh, if they could take a bed in our department and take care of the child and stay with him, and they agree. They don't mind at all. They don't mind just staying with the kid or the child and take care of him while he's getting treated.
You actually have a lot of I mean, if the news reports are correct, I saw in the news that you actually have a lot of people, a lot of refugees that are just kind of camped out in your hospital as well, don't you?
Yes, I think the last number I heard about 20,000 refugees in our hospital, inside and out. Inside, I mean, most of the injured people coming in, uh, they will take a bed in our department, for example. Some of them will be able to leave and just go out and just make a tent, or if their house still standing, they will go to their house. The majority, they don't have anywhere to go. They will ask to stay, and
Right.
ask.
Their homes have already been destroyed.
If I say ask, I mean they will ask to stay. They will stay anyway, even if we refuse. They will stay anyway, and these put a lot of pressure on managing the patients coming in. Uh, okay, patient coming in, you need a bed for them. If there is no beds, they will stay on the floor. Even in the norm, without them without these refugee being in our departments, at times, even if you zeroed out the hospital, no patient at all, and you start receiving patients, you're still gonna run out of beds.
And I mean, you already have this supply issue.
About the supply issue, yes, we do have a supply issue here, but it doesn't matter how short you are. Still, the main issue, you have a huge number of injuries coming in. I mean, if you have like maybe another 10 hospital like ours, you're still gonna be at times, you're still gonna run out of beds. We have opened too many section of the hospital to host patients in them, but we still run out of beds. Not because of we have refugees, but because of you have large number and you are a central hospital in the south. So
Right.
so like one thing is you have a large number of injuries coming in, and you have a shortage and supply issue.
Now, before the war started, because I mean, there was obviously a blockade. Did the blockade create challenges for hospitals also, even without the war, where you had difficulties with certain supplies?
Yes, of course. We were short to begin with. We were short of too many stuffs to begin with because of the blockade, and what things you can have coming in and what things you can't have. And as I told you before, even the simplest stuff like uh, hydrogen peroxide that we used for wound cleaning and healing, these was not allowed to enter Gaza. Uh, many items, for example, uh, you have these even hard valve. I remember hard valve coming in through NGOs only, from NGOs to the Ministry of Health, and then coming into the hospitals. You can just get them straight. Most of these NGOs, they bring in the medical mission, and the medical mission bring with them these items. Uh, the blockade was doing a number on the ability of the hospitals even before the war, and now with the already pre-existing shortage and high demand, now everything went south really quick.
So, I guess one of the things I'm trying to wrap my head around too is you're here in this hospital, you're short of staff, you're short of supplies, you have all kinds of serious cases that you're dealing with. You're working 80 days straight at a time. You're not getting paid. From like a a mental perspective, like, how are you coping? Like, how do you like, are you just is it something you don't think about because you're in the moment? Or, I mean, do you have times where you're just like, "How much longer can I do this for?" How are you dealing with this personally?
Yes, I've never thought about this. Like now thinking about it, like you asked me, thinking about this, I think there is no one straight answer. I think everyone would answer differently. Uh,
Right.
for me, like like everyone asked me, like, why are you staying here? Why are you staying? Like, you are a cardiac surgeon. You can go wherever you want. You can work anywhere, especially in the Gulf cities like United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar. Yes, I can do this. I can leave, but then, like, what kind of person would I be? What kind of doctor would I be? The first moment, the first war I attend, and then the first major war I attend, and then my country need me, and then I just leave. I leave my family. I leave my people here. I mean, what kind of person would I be? It doesn't make any sense to me. I know, I understand the pressure is too much, but still, we are all in this together. It doesn't matter who want to leave, just can leave. But still, at the end of the day, I might leave. Other doctors might leave, and then tomorrow my brother might need a doctor. Who's gonna help him?
Right.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here for other people, so that one day I might need someone to help me. I just work like this.
Right. in terms of the stress, the daily stress of dealing what you're dealing with, I guess you don't even really have time to think about it. It's just so, hectic and crazy that this is just life right now.
Exactly. You know, doctors like get used to stuff pressure really quick. I'm not saying this because of me. I'm just saying this because I've seen my colleagues, my other people, like how they like just keep going. It's really amazing. It's amazing how they just keep going, especially the orthopedics. These orthopedic guys, they are amazing. Like
Right.
they are the busiest, they are the toughest, and they still keep going. Imagine 900 cases they have to see every day. I don't know how they do this. They divided 400, 400. I still can't understand how this is happening. These guys are heroes. They're Superman. Superman.
Right, yeah. Now, at the beginning of our conversation, you were mentioning that the IDF are moving in now, and so is there an understanding or that you are in a kind of an area that is becoming more and more dangerous now? And do you have to prepare for that in any way, or you just kind of have to accept whatever happens next?
You know, everyone have a choice now. I understand that uh, for the IDF raiding at the EGH hospital, my hospital is a matter of time. We all know they're gonna do it sooner or later, but it's a choice you're gonna have to make. Either you continue helping people. Uh, I don't want to be a hero. No one wants to be a hero because we all saw what happened to Ashifa doctors. Uh, did you hear about the uh, uh, Aaron? We call him Aaron. He's one doctor. They treated him. Everyone was captured with him. They said they treated him like a dog. They tied a collar around his neck and asked him to feed like a dog, just because he's a doctor and he's a head surgeon in the Shifa hospital, and he's like one of the spokesmen of the on behalf of the hospital.
So yeah, there's an understanding that they're going to be coming, not to look for military combatants, even if that's a part of it, but it's mostly going to be that they're going to come there and they're going to terrorize you guys, and your lives are going to be in danger, even though you're just a doctor helping patients.
We understand that they actively target doctors. We already know this. Not because we would like to think this, but because this actually happened. In the Shiva hospital, a
Yeah.
lot of eyewitness they come and say they execute doctors just in the field, just for everyone to see. If you want to talk to them, you have to take off your clothes and go and talk to them as a doctor. I mean, my colleague's brother, he stayed with them. I think 40 days or 60 days. He said they target doctors. If you are a doctor and you're captured, you really had you're really gonna be treated like the worst. They these what he saw there, not what.
The one thing I noticed, from previous conflicts, was that every time the IDF is shooting at something or destroying something, it almost looks like they're deliberately going after the pillars of society, whether it be, I remember there was one, I can't remember what the building was called, the Spanish Quarter or something like that, a building that housed mostly doctors, engineers, and middle class people, and they destroyed that building. It was not a military target at all. But from all of the actions in the previous wars as well, it just looks like that this is exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to destroy society in a way that there's no way for Palestinians in Gaza to be able to rise up again. And now, of course, destroying universities seem to be an important part of that. I mean, doctors, of course, after you explained this to me, it seems like that's a logical thing that they would do too if they really are trying to basically commit a genocide.
It's really simple. If you destroy the house, if you destroy the hospital, if you destroy the school, you have nothing else to do. You have no place to learn. You have no place to sleep. You have no place to learn to get some medical advice or some medicine or health advice. Then you don't have a home anymore. You might just leave. So I think these are the mentality they're coming in with. They're trying to burn everything. Uh, I start doubting myself when everything happened. I've been abroad for most of my life. I have been trying to make a beautiful house, beautiful clinic, beautiful school. I tried to elevate my social status as much as I can here, but all for went for nothing. Everything disappeared. I think what they try to do is they try to detach you from the land. I think they try to remove any memories you
Right.
have here, so you have a easier decision to leave. I think these what they're trying to do. They're trying to detach you from the land.
That makes me wonder, because obviously, I remember early on there was a lot of criticism about places like Egypt not opening up their borders to refugees. But isn't the point that if that were to happen, as soon as people left, there's no coming back? Like if they actually managed to get you guys to leave, that's it. It's done. There's no more home for you in Gaza. They'll never let you come back. I mean, is that what would ultimately happen?
Yes, but if you also follow it closely with this, you also understand that there's a lot of people has left. Um, I think there's some reports said about 100,000 has already left through Egypt, but these 100,000, if you think about it, these the wealthy uh, part of the society. These people who were able to pay 20,000 or 100,000 US dollar just to have a clearance to cross the road, cross the borders. Now, I'm not saying that the people who stayed here, uh, they stayed because they don't have this money to get clearance and leave. Uh, Even if you open borders and you ask people to leave, no one will leave. Like the ones who left already, they left. The one who's staying, I understand. Some of them they're staying because they can afford leaving, but still, there's like a really tiny group of people who might have a chance. If they have a chance, they might take it. I don't want to keep taking myself as an example because I'm just one person and I really can't speak for everyone. When I say, look at me, I'm staying and this and that, I'm just one person and this is my opinion and I can't speak for everyone else.
Right. It sounds like the natural way that this progresses, though, like the natural series of events here, where a large percentage of the people with money and with resources will use those money and that money and resources to leave, and that also is um, a success in terms of as far as Israel is concerned, because these are the same people who had the resources to build businesses or to invest in the place where they live, but they're gone now. There's so many people who were wealthy who are gone out of the out of Gaza now. Isn't that it's basically playing exactly into their hands?
Exactly, and to make things worse, um, now Gaza almost I don't want to say have no liquidity, but we really have a hard time with liquidity. Money is really hard to come by now. Not only because of salaries and stuff, not because these people with the money they left took their money with them, and the circulating money, whatever remaining now, is tiny compared to
Right.
what people took. And one more thing, if you want to look at Egypt only takes fees in dollars, US dollars, and and you have in regular times if you want to take to have a clearance to enter Egypt, you need to spend around 200 to 300 US dollar. Now you have at least to spend 5,000. Some at
Right.
times people were spending 14,000 for one person. I know
Wow.
a colleague of mine. She spent 14,000 US dollar on her brother just to let him go out of Gaza to get treated because he was injured. And they said, "Oh, because he's injured and he needs an ambulance and stuff, so it's gonna cost more." And they charge her 14,000 US dollar. There is too
Wow.
many factors to what's going on inside Gaza now. But yeah, you can consider all of these, and you'll understand. Uh, it's not only the Israelis doing this. I think we have other people like having hands into this.
Now, in terms of low amounts of money circulating, everything becoming more expensive, how is this the aid that is coming in, whether it comes by trucks or airdrops, is it actually helping? What happens when these things actually arrive?
Let's start with airdrops. I think airdrops just uh, just another tool they use to make chaos in Gaza. You making an airdrop, then you have hundreds of people running after these parachutes. Sometimes people just like start fighting over this. I think these airdrops just tools. You can use the ports. You can open Rafah a port and just have aids coming in. You can use the seaport. You just built US built. You can use it. Why did you use it? Why you make airdrops? I think these airdrops just another tool they want to use to make society go even further into chaos.
Are people actually dying when these
We
things
had
are like when they're fighting and trampling each other, they're dying?
we had many cases of people coming in because the airdrops fell on them or on their tents. Or we had I think we had two children coming in and they stayed in the ICU for like quite some time because of these aids landed on them. And where you want to drop these airdrops, you have to drop it in safe zones. And where are these safe zones? Near the beach. And most of these airdrops they land in the water in the sea. So there is too many. It's really risky.
Right.
This is one, and for aid trucks, uh, you know, Karm Abu Salim port and Rafah port is the only ports that allow goods coming in. Starting with Rafah port. Rafah port actually, the Egyptian side, the Egyptian side, they charge 5,000 US dollar for each truck coming in, and they keep delaying these aids because you know if for the aids to stay on the Egyptian side or the ports, you have to pay daily for them. So that's why they keep delaying these aids from coming in. And then at the end of the day, when there is aids coming into the UN or UNDP and these programs and World Food Program, what do you have? You have canned food. This canned food is, yes, at times it's like you really like it because you're really hungry and you have no other options. But when you keep feeding people canned food for over like 6 months,
Mm.
and then we keep seeing kids coming in with like constipation for 10 or 15 days. I wonder where does this constipation coming from? Huh? Is it the
Right.
canned food? And maybe because they don't have any veggies. Maybe uh, so the whole aid uh, going on here, like, oh, we have aid coming into Gaza. Don't tell me you have AIDS. What kind of AIDS you bringing in? Uh, I don't want body bags. I want a proper AIDS. I don't want masks. A hospital read proper AIDS.
Right.
The AIDS we had in the first days, body bags and what we call kafan is a white cloth you wrap the Muslim person in and then put him in the grave.
This is what they sent as aid to Gaza.
In the first few months, all the body bags and these white cloths for wrapping the dead.
So it's almost as if they were sending a message as like, this is what's coming. You know, you better prepare with these items because there's a lot more coming.
Just like I don't know. I really don't have any words to say. It's
It's like
just
a
like
sick
I'm
joke.
crazy.
It's almost like a sick joke.
Yes, and most of these stuff like still we use them. Of course, we use them,
Right.
and but like you send us Corona supply. Doing what with Corona supply? I mean, like
Right.
if you seen the ORs, the ER, sorry, emergency rooms, you don't even have a time to put a mask on.
It almost sounds like they were just kind of getting rid of their old stock from during the pandemic, because just to make a show, for the international, audience, because we even you know, before we started this video call, we were talking about how I could possibly get my subscribers to support you, and we'll get to that later, but it's very, very difficult because the US and the, global financial system prevents people from being able to send you money directly. So they pretend on one hand they want to help you, they want help to reach you, but wherever it's meaningful, whether it be meaningful supplies or allowing people to directly support you, they make sure that that's not happening. They really want to choke you guys off. It seems.
Exactly. On one hand, they send us expired food. On the other hand, they don't want us to have any support from outside. Now,
Right.
considering that you only have expired food on the market, you only have coming in as aids, of course. Only either you eat this or you die.
Yeah.
If, for example, there is times where like imagine onion was costing about $5 for 205 grams.
Wow.
Here we don't buy onion by grams; we buy it in boxes. And imagine just to have one or two onions it costs like $5. I mean, like how are people gonna survive? Okay, I'm really sorry about this. I know I'm sounding really negative and I'm complaining a lot, but these what really is going on here in Gaza. I understand your viewer might get sick of me because I'm sound negative and complaining and like have what some people call bad energy, but this is what actually is going on. And even the simplest stuff, even if you want a tomato, you have to pay a fortune for it.
You know what, man? Just let it out because yeah. Yeah, you know what? I mean, you're working there every single day, and you're sitting down now, and you're talking to me, and you're finally being able to talk about these frustrations. Everybody there around you knows about this, but you're finally getting a chance to tell the outside world. So don't apologize for letting your frustrations out. You're in a situation that a lot of people could never even begin to imagine. I'm kind of curious if the opinion in Gaza of America has kind of changed. Like, was there always an understanding that Israel has always been enabled by America, and so what's happening now isn't a surprise, or is what's happening now, especially with the severity of what Israel is doing to you guys there in Gaza, and how endlessly America is supporting Israel? Has the opinion of the American government really gone downhill in Gaza since this conflict began, or it's always kind of been the same?
Um, the idea about the U.S. government, of course. It's
Yeah,
bad since everything started, but now it's getting worse. Like people start to really understand. Like it seems like two Israels trying to take us down, and not just Israel here on our borders, but the amount of support for uh, what's going on. I mean, like you might mind if I call it genocide, but it really is. Like if you keep supporting someone committing a genocide or killing children and women, I think you're doing it too. You don't come and tell me, "Oh,
yeah,
we just supply them with a weapon." No, you are enabling them. So you're a part of this, and people here really understand this. They really understand that the U.S. enables Israel, and U.S. is a part of it. They understand most of these European countries supported Israel even by saying we support just by words. People like understand this and understand that everyone had a word in this is a part of it, and this like it is really clear not only from our side here, but from the other nationalities, people of these countries. Uh, I really I have to say this that even though I hate the U.S. government, I'm gonna just say it. I hate them for what they're doing now. But still, like I have a lot of American friends there who like really nice, and they help me and they offer to help, and they are really helped me through this time. And they really showed their values and what we used to hear about the America. They really showed these beautiful values, but now the government
right.
is worse.
It really is amazing to see it because there are so many people who are enraged by this. There are so many people, ordinary Americans, who can see that this is wrong and that it needs to stop. Jewish Americans also, there are so many Jewish Americans that support Palestinians and want this to end. And it's just amazing to see how unresponsive the government is to that. Even in some cases, seeing senators mock these people for standing up for Palestinians. So I think you making that distinction is very important. Yeah, because it's true.
And all of a sudden they are protesting for like doing terrorist stuff, and it's no longer freedom of speech for some reason. And oh, by the way, I have also a friend from the U.S. His name is Daniel, and he always like, "Don't worry, Habibi, with you. We are with you. Look at these beautiful videos, people protesting for you." And yes, Daniel, like the guy, he's really amazing. I met him also in China, and we've been friends
Yeah,
since then. Like I think over 6 years now. It's really beautiful to see that all of these people coming together for a beautiful good cause, not
right.
not for like voting for some jackass. Sorry for the word, or like uh, try coming for some
Yeah.
like they all coming together for really meaningful something meaningful. Not because it's my country, not because of uh, I'm being oppressed here. Just like the beautiful cause they come for together. Yeah, I think these will change everything. Not only in Palestine and other areas.
Right.
At least people now understand that the whole story, and they understand what's really going on.
It's really amazing too. I mean, obviously, I've lived in China for a long time. You lived in China for a long time. To see the American government always talk about China. Obviously, we lived our lives in China. We know how different China is from the actual media reports in the U.S. But one of the things that the U.S. likes to do to distinguish themselves from China is to say that they have these freedom of speech, the freedom to protest, the democratic system where the people dictate what the government does. Like this is what they say is their advantage over China. They say that China doesn't have this, and this is what they have. Yet now we see all of these students, how they're being smeared and how they're being shut down and how police are going in to basically end these pro-Palestinian protests. It's really a wake-up call for everybody who thought that the American system was supposed to represent something better than that. Um, there's before we wrap up, because I know you're very busy and your phone is pretty low too. I want to. I don't know if it's okay to ask about this because there's one guy who I've seen, and I don't know if I'm just not getting the whole story right or what, but he's a Palestinian named DJ Khaled. I don't know if you know who he is. Do you know who DJ Khaled is?
Yes, another one.
So So I am just disgusted when I see what he's a Palestinian, and when the boycott started for various brands that support Israel, he did a video deliberately showing all of those brands. And just a couple of days ago, as this thing was unfolding in Rafah, he's dancing in front of his private jet and stuff like that, and he has said nothing for his people. And I just wondered if he is a big name in Gaza where people look at him and say, "Oh my God," you know? On one hand, you've got people like you and other doctors who are staying there, standing with your people, even if you have an opportunity to leave, and this guy has such a huge platform, so many resources, and he's just rubbing it in his own people's face. I just couldn't believe it.
Uh, I couldn't believe that either. But at the end of the day, if you gonna ignore your origin, then you are no one, nobody. Uh, I understand Palestinian might be struggling, but uh, knowing your history and knowing who you really are is really important for you. And for you to ignore all this, it doesn't make you any useful to any country you go to. If you're gonna just pay on your own blood, and then like I don't think you're gonna be useful for anyone else. Um, I'm not really surprised because you can see this happening even with different nationalities, not only Palestinian nationality. But at the end of the day, it's time. These times, these hardship, it shows you who our people are. You know who's real and who's fake. You know who's the man and who's the
Right,
ignorant. So we'd like to call this war here in Gaza Al-Kashifa. Al-Kashifa
right, yeah.
means something revealing, revealed everything. So um, I really don't.
Yeah, it's been a revealing experience not only, to see who your friends are, who your friends aren't, probably even from a government level too. Like you're seeing all of these different countries standing up for Palestine. Obviously, when America continually vetoes all of these resolutions for a ceasefire and all of this stuff, you suddenly see all of these other countries in the global south, like Guyana, my mother's country in South America, or even China, standing up for the Palestinians. And it's been a really illuminating process to see who really your friends are.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, uh, you can keep doing what you do and expect people to follow along, but when you cross beyond imaginable, beyond what's permissible, and you expect people just to line up with you, I don't think this is gonna happen. I mean, all the love for these countries who stand by us and helped us and voted for us. Uh, Really, these times, even the little things means a lot to us. And recently, what
Right,
we heard about Ireland and Spain and Norway, they are officially recognizing Palestine as a state. I mean, honestly, that was really great news for us. I was really happy, and these sacrifices they didn't go to waste. And I hope to see more
right.
countries align with us and helping us to come to our full potential and be once again our own country, and all the people, like everyone, all the not only governments. I understand that these governments can be enabled by their own people. That's why I really appreciate these people from the bottom of my heart. And hopefully, one day Palestine will return favor to all of these people.
Right. Well, I know you're quite busy, and also our connection is starting to cut out. I'm not getting everything you're saying, but I think that pretty much answered one of my final questions also is what you would hope to see, in terms of whether it's a two-state solution or something like that. And that more or less, I got little bits and pieces of what you were saying, um, more or less answers the question. I think, one important thing to look at in terms of what came out of this, although there's so much suffering in Gaza and an unimaginable amount of suffering, it seems like it really woke up the world to what's been going on in your part of the world. I remember online I was talking about Palestine since, it's, relatively speaking, it's not very early, 2019, 2020, but then it was so difficult to get people to listen to what was going on and what the real issues were. But now everybody has awoken to this, and hopefully, it can lead to something, it can lead to something good. Um, so, I just I wanna thank you for your time, and also what I wanna mention too is you're gonna provide me with, so obviously, as I said earlier, it's almost impossible for people to support you, from overseas, but we are gonna put an AliPay, code on for people who can support you, and you can use it for buying supplies or getting yourself back on your feet. Hopefully, opening up that charity clinic one day once things settle down, um, and you have a way which we can get that converted, and somebody can send it over to you. But um, I just want to say, stay safe. Obviously, there's you're entering a pretty risky period here. But is there anything final you want to say to everybody? Let everybody know, or what your hopes are in terms of how this is going to end, or what do you want to see happen?
Yes, first, I really thank you for having me in your show, and I hope this reach as many as possible, and I hope people will finally understand uh, what's going on, and I hope this all these sacrifice of these people don't go waste. I hope everyone starts learning about what Palestine really is, and I hope this all of this ends soon, and I understand after this, at the end of this, people are really gonna have a hard time because people will finally have time to think about what they actually lost, especially the one who lost loved one. So I hope uh, peace. We just want some peace. We want to be our own. We want to decide our own faith here,
Right.
and I really hope this is gonna happen. And I would like to thank everyone who stood by us and supported us in any way, even just by chanting Palestine. We thank everyone on behalf of all Palestinians. We thank everyone for this, and I thank you for having me and letting me giving me the opportunity to tell my story and uh, show the world what really going on here in Palestine, in Gaza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. O'Day, and we'll be in touch and provide updates to our audience as the days go along. Thanks very much, and thanks everybody else for joining us. Take care. Okay, guys, that was the interview with Dr. O'Day. I hope you found that informative. And if you want to, well, like we said in the video, if you want to support him from overseas, there's not really any options available, which is kind of ironic. If you're in China or you have access to AliPay, you can donate to him, and he has a legal way to get that converted over to him. Unless any of my subscribers have any suggestions on platforms that are working and aren't getting suspended when you're trying to support ordinary people in Gaza, you can let me know about it and I can tell everybody else. But for the time being, if you wanted to help him out so that he could buy supplies, he could get back on his feet and hopefully build that charity clinic that he was hoping on building, then definitely if you have AliPay, think about, sending him a little bit of support there. I will keep you updated on what's going on for him because obviously he's in an increasingly dangerous situation there with the IDF enclosing in on their area. We all hope, obviously, that he's going to be okay, but I will definitely keep you posted. Once again, thanks for listening and joining us, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.